So what you're about to watch is a live training I did for my community where I talk about the 3 skills you need to develop to do deals quickly. Now, this is not the skills like, hey, be a good listener and some other stuff that you really can't actually go implement. These are 3 things that you can go implement right now to start doing deals in your real estate investing business quickly. I hope you enjoy the training.
3 skills to do deals anywhere in any market. And this is important because these are the same skills that I've used over the years to always be able to find opportunities. And, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I have been responsible for a lot of different movements as far as like finding opportunities and finding deals. And I start talking about this stuff. And the funny thing is it works. And people start doing it and it works. Everybody wants to coin it their own thing. But interesting enough is if you are always keeping the same framework, you will always find the opportunities as well. I don't know something that other people don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but if you keep these frameworks I'm going to share with you guys today, you'll be able to stay ahead of your competition, ahead of the market by at least 6 months, right? So that's the windows of opportunity. We've talked about different opportunities that are working really well right now, where there's a great window of 6 to 12 months. But I want you guys to stay ahead of it. So the rest of your competition is still doing stuff that doesn't work. You'll at least be able to make money in any market, anywhere, outside of just understanding the strategy. There's a lot of skills that kind of go behind it. So let's look at the first skill. Okay, so the first skill that I would consider as a part of the 3 core skills that you need to be successful in this business is the ability to always be able to find opportunities. And there's many ways to go about this, but I'm going to share a framework with you guys that I say. And for when it comes to finding opportunities for me, there are 2 pieces to this. Okay, you actually have the marketing component, right? Because very much so as a wholesale business, it is very marketing driven. You have to be able to find opportunities. You got to be able to be very good at finding leads, but you also have to be able to find quality leads at a good price, right? So that way you don't spend all of your money, see no return, and then you go back to doing whatever you're doing. You are very much in wholesaling because the nature of the business is that you find deals for other people. Well, then you have to be very good at finding deals, because if you're going to charge a wholesale fee, that's the value that you bring to the table. A fix and flipper or an M buyer or a hedge fund or whatever is willing to pay you a fee for finding deals. So that is what we have to get very good at doing. So there's a marketing component to it. So if you're like, I'm not good at marketing, well, then that means you're not going to be good at wholesaling. You're not going to be good at this business. So we have to figure out how to get good at it. And the great thing about it is a skill that you can learn. And the second one here, okay, the second skill, if I can push this over here. All right, so outside of marketing, the second skill is being able to evaluate. So I'm going to put deal evaluation here. So under the skill of being able to find opportunities, not only do you need to be able to market and get people to respond to your marketing, but you also need to be able to evaluate if that lead is even worth your time. Is this getting me closer to my goal? So as you guys kind of work through this, I always try to recommend figuring out what we're trying to achieve, because for many people, this business is a means to an end. It is a great, great, great way to build a business, to start making life-changing money, but it'll always feel that way unless you are what are we trying to accomplish? Are we trying to build a business that can just consistently bring us in 30 to 50 grand a month, just consistently, and so you can go do other things? Maybe you're passionate about something else. Maybe you have another industry you're really excited about. Maybe you have a whole other business, or maybe you're interested in multiple businesses, right? We'll get this to the point where it's making you 30, 50 grand a month, set it up to be automated by key hires and finding out, we'll do it. There's a separate training for that, but that's possible. You can absolutely do that. But if you guys are in the mode of hey, I want to turn this thing into $100,000 a month business, well, be ready to hustle, because this will be your only thing that you'll be doing, right? And we're talking about making $1 million a year. I want you guys to use the chat. I want you talking to each other. I want you communicating, because I see Josh Norber in the house. If you guys don't know Josh Norber, he's at over 1,100 short sales. So if you ever run into any hairy situations, he would be a guy that I would probably want to know. You got Yoshi. She hustles as hard as anyone else. She flew out of state to Pennsylvania, I think it was. She lives in South Florida. Well, I think Central Florida. Sorry, Yoshi. She flew from Florida to Pennsylvania to get photos on a deal and try to market it. Literally got in a plane and went to this deal. So she busts her tail. You guys should get to know it. I highly recommend. We have a lot of great people here in the chat. Y'all should be networking with each other, because this is how, if I say, when we go to implement these skills and we go through all 3 of these, one of the ways that you can make sure that you will never be able to lose and that you will always be able to make it in this is your network, right? If you are surrounded by people that are doing great things and are making money, what's the likelihood of you doing the same? Pretty stinking likely. So You need to be building up your network at all times. There's a lot of great people here doing great things. So just want to put that out there before I keep going. All right. So for the marketing component, the question you got to ask yourself here, okay, is who is in the most pain, not pain, or in the most distress? Jeez, if I can spell right now. Right. And this changes. You should be asking yourself this every day, every week, every month, but more importantly, as things change every quarter, who is facing the most distress right now? Who is in the most pain? And when the market shifted in 2022, I was like, well, gosh, it would really suck if you're trying to sell a house right now because no one's buying because interest rates just went up and affordability is not great. And that same house for $300,000, the mortgage payment just almost 1.5x over like a month period. So if you're trying to sell your house right now, that stinks. So what did that lead to? Okay, well, how do we help the people that are trying to sell their house right now that may have their property sitting on market? Oh, and then maybe what if they don't have any equity? Okay, they're in distress and they're having to make mortgage payments on a house they're underwater on. They're already not going to make any money when they sell the house. They're having to continue to make this mortgage payment. So they're not coming out of pocket when they sell. Oh, well, that seems like an interesting demographic or an interesting group or interesting list of people we should try to go after and see if there's a solution or a problem we can solve. So marketing is all about finding your ideal customer that you know how to solve their problems because you get paid to solve their problems, right? So this is a very, very, very helpful question in any market to figure out who is the most distressed, who is the person that is facing the most difficulties right now. Now, as we kind of go into the holiday season, right, where it's November going into December, you're going to talk to a lot of sellers. If you guys are marketing direct to seller, you're going to talk to a lot of sellers that want to wait till the new year. Like, I don't want to make any decisions right now. We're going to wait, blah, blah, blah. But the people who do want to sell right now are in a tremendous amount of distress. So think about who that may be. Someone who's about to lose their home, someone going into foreclosure, maybe someone who inherited property and they need to catch up on, some other bills. Who is going to be the most distressed right now that you can go after? And the third skill that we're going to go over today is going to help really tie all this together. But more importantly, if you ask yourself this question in any market, I promise you'll always be able to find opportunities. And this is how I always, you guys, if you follow me and follow what I've talked about since, on these masterclasses on February, you could see kind of like how some of these things changed. For example, back in 2023, all we were doing was creative finance deals. There's a lot of subject to, a lot of seller finance. That was it. Because I was like, I don't even know where we need to buy properties, and our fix and flippers basically pulled out of this market. So where do we need to be? Where do we need to be on these prices? So because of that, we decided to just go full-fledged into creative finance. And that was all of 2023. Now heading into this year, we were like, okay, well, things are going to be changing. Hopefully. They talked about dropping interest rates. That only happened. Well, now it's happened twice, but everyone's kind of just holding their breath. But heading into this year, I was like, okay, well, instead of just going after the creative finance deals, because those assignment fees stink. They're like really small assignment fees, like $5, $8 grand, sometimes $10 grand, depending on how good the deal is. But you're always fighting tooth and nail just to make a few bucks on that. I'm like, for the liability on the back end, hey, if they come across your table, I recommend being the buyer for those deals, figuring out a way to buy them, long as they cash flow. But other than that, we focused on cash deals this year. Still reaching out to the same group of people. So you guys know we reach out to real estate agents to do our deals. We also reach out to real estate agents to do our multifamily deals. We also reach out to real estate agents to do our commercial deals. I reached out to a guy yesterday and he's got some shopping centers. I'm like, brother, I don't know how to underwrite these deals. He's like, I'll show you. But like, I run across these deals all the time. And like, these are the same people. They're coming across distressed properties. Guys, distress doesn't just happen in single family world. It happens across all asset classes, including in the stock market when people need to sell, right? So at the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, who is facing the biggest difficulty in this year? We decided to move more towards cash because the assignment fees were bigger. But what we found in the process was those same foreclosures, those same probates, all those things. So that is the recurring question. So the same people that we would find with, the distress stuff that you would pay a ton of money for, the foreclosures, the probates, inherited properties, etc., tired landlords, we found them still by just working with a real group of people. We found them by working with real estate agents. And we tweaked the script. And if you don't have our most recent direct-to-agent script, that's okay. Once you get Masterclass Pass Access today, you'll have the script. But basically, that script works. It works really well. It works for me. It works for training people who've never been in the United States, like Filipino virtual assistants, Egyptian virtual assistants. It works. That was the move for us this year. Was like, okay, well, let's focus on reaching out to these agents, saying these things, and I guarantee we're going to do deals. And lo and behold, We did. Right. So, and that's the big part of our business nowadays. But we always ask who is in the most distress and who is the most pain. So, if you guys have followed some of our stuff, like Matthias was on last Saturday, I told the group, I'm like, hey, I think there's a great opportunity right now for the opportunity that they present within reverse flipping, right? Which is, hey, we're going to buy a property and we're going to buy the deed of that property. We're not even going to put it under contract. We're going to buy the deed and then we're going to negotiate directly with the lender. But within that, not every property is a deal. So Matthias came on and was kind of sharing like, okay, well, what you're going to want is you want properties that need a bunch of work and they're underwater. Like Yvonne came in on our Tech Tuesday call and she go, well, I have this property in Alabama. The ARV is like 350, but they owe 244 and it needs just a ton of work. So no one can buy it for 244 because of how much work it needs. So think about that. If the property's worth 350 and it needs 80 grand in work and they owe 244, well, if you add, even if they just got 244 plus 80 grand, you're at 322. And then by the time you subtract cost of selling, holding cost, agent commissions and stuff, the flipper makes $0. The wholesaler makes $0. So you needed that property cheaper. But that specific scenario, people be like, I can't make this deal work. It's too tight. And they have arrears and all these other things. So reverse flipping is a perfect opportunity for that one because you actually have negotiation power with the lender saying, hey, this property as is not worth 244. This property as is may be worth 160, maybe worth 170. And that's how you build in your margin. And that's how those deals really work really well over there. But understanding the concepts behind it, we understand like, okay, well then who is in that sort of situation? Well, foreclosures is a really big one. People who've owned properties for 20 plus years and may have other liens or, maybe you can find tax liens and things of that nature. So we can go and find inherited properties, tax liens or tax sales, foreclosures, etc. And that's easy to find because I can see that the property needs a bunch of repairs and they're falling behind on some of their other obligations. Ideally, people foreclosures is one of the easiest ones, notice of default, etc. So understanding that, I was like, okay, well then I know exactly how to go find these people. There's a list that I can pull for that, and I can move pretty quickly. So like that's the concept behind what I'm trying to say here under the marketing component is understand, right? Understand who is in the most pain right now and who is going through it. So there's an opportunity with reverse flipping right now between the next 6 to 12 months where it's just going to work really well because not that many people are pitching it. When we first started implementing Subject 2, when Pace and I were partners, and this was back in 2019, where we first started to really get it going, like no one else was pitching Subject 2 at the door when I was door knocking foreclosures. So it was easy. Like I got like every deal that was available to do Subject 2 because no one else was pitching it. And they also didn't understand it either. So there was a window of opportunity about 6 to 12 months where I was doing it and we were doing deals. And that was before, the Subject 2 community kind of came around. And really, it was built on the heels of doing that. It's like, okay, well, now there's this great opportunity called Subject 2, and then there was a frenzy behind it, right? That's the kind of frenzy that they're experiencing over there at reverse flipping now is because, there's this opportunity. There's this whole other deal set that people are saying no to. Great, let's go do deals. And they have about 6 to 12 months of runway before it really starts getting crazy over there. So, that is what I really want to impart to you guys. Like, always want to find those opportunities within the market. So if you get good and you develop the skills of figuring out where the opportunities are, just ask yourself this question: who is in the most pain or in the most distress right now? Easy peasy. That's a quick one. And of course, the next question after that, and how can I find them and reach them affordably? I don't know about you guys, but I can't outspend my competition. I don't have an unlimited checkbook. I can't spend $30,000 a month on marketing. So the way that we have found our people and have done all different types of deals, creative, cash, etc., has been through real estate agents and our reverse flips. There are students that are in our program, that are in our private community, that are doing the Underdog Challenge. They're reaching out to agents first and foremost because they're the easiest ones to target. Anyone who has a short sale listing, anyone who has a low equity listing, and instead of approaching them saying, hey, I want to buy your home Subject 2, you're saying, I don't want to buy your home Subject 2, so don't put me in the bucket with the other 30 Subject 2 offers you have. I want to do, I think this would make a ton of sense. This property needs some work, Mr. Agent, Mrs. Agent, and I can negotiate with the lender, but you're going to have to let me do it. Like, we have one of the best teams, or we know how to do it. Even if like Josh here has done 1,100 of them. If the property needs work and we can build in the as-is value, if we can build in the gap between as-is value and what the ARV is. So again, in that example with Miss Yvonne, the ARV was 350. The what she owed was 244. It didn't really matter because the as-is value is like 160. So it's the difference between 160 and 350. You see how this gap was created? Is even though she owed the bank this amount, we created the gap by being able to negotiate it down. right? Or in theory, that's how that would work, right? So how can you find these people? I try to go the cheapest route possible and figuring out like, okay, if I could do all these things and it wouldn't cost me a ton of money, which one would be the most effective? It's like going direct to seller and paying and going and cold calling, right? And you're like, all right, well, I can cold call a list of 10,000 people that are, just like, hey, tired landlords or people who have a lot of equity. I can pull this list of 10,000 and we could try to call them, right? But we all know within that segment of 10,000, there's got to be an easier way to find the motivated people within that 10,000, right? And then in that 10,000, maybe you have 1,500 foreclosures. Okay. And then within that 1,500 foreclosures, how many people actually need help or want to sell? Okay. There's maybe like 60, right? And within that 60, how many people can I get a hold of right now? Right? Maybe like 4 or 5 or 6, right? And you guys see why it's so hard and people don't do any deals is because they try to find a needle in like 18 haystacks rather than condense it down to something very niche. Because specifically when it comes to that type of marketing, it's not calling a list one time. It's not calling a list 2 times. We would end up getting our foreclosure deals after our 8th to 10th time calling the list. Like we have called them 8 to 10 times before we started getting some decent responses from the people, that 6 to 12 people who are actually interested in maybe selling. You see what I'm saying here? So we don't want to bog ourselves down because we don't have a team of 40 people to go through all of this, right? What's the implications? How do we go about doing that? And at the end of the day is we want to stay super niche with our marketing. So how can we find them and reach them affordably? And that is a skill that you can develop and get better at. One of the biggest trappings I feel like of the current real estate industry is the folks that go pay like agencies to generate leads, like to go go get paid per lead kind of companies saying, hey, we're sending out marketing and you can buy this lead from me. Literally, people are rolling the dice with $300 to $500 a lead and get nothing from it, right? Or you're paying an agency a retainer $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month to help you run ads, and you're literally rolling the dice and hoping you can convert on them, right? Instead of doing that, let's just figure out like within the industry, because you're going to know it better than most agencies saying, I'm going to find you motivated seller leads. These people just sell leads. They don't know the business, right? So if you guys get good at this, I know exactly who I'd want to target in any of my marketing campaigns, whether that be direct to seller, direct mail, or my favorite is direct to agent. And I've talked about this to some of the students. Eventually, you'll reach a cap with direct to agent to where you're within 2 or 3 markets and you're doing roughly 4 to 6 deals a month. And the only answer to get to the point where you want to do more than that is you can either branch out, do more markets. You could do 4, 5, 6 markets if you wanted to. But what I normally recommend is because you're going to spend $90 to $150 a deal with direct to agent, I recommend just going deeper in the market you're already in because your margin is so good. That means you're making about $50,000, $60,000 a month. You can take some of that money and start doing some paid advertising, but you have such a great foundation to be able to do so, right? So the first piece of that first skill is being able to market who is in the most pain or in the most distress right now. How can I find them and reach them affordably? If you do not get good at this skill, you will not last in this business, period. It's just how it is. Like if you put it in someone else's hands, you'll never make the money you're trying to make. And especially you will never find the deals that you're trying to find. Okay. So that is a huge component of this. And the second piece is being able to evaluate the deals that you have. So if you guys missed, let's see if I can put this here. If you guys missed our training that we did in the month of October, we did something called the Underwriting Academy. And I'm going to be uploading that in this group that I'm going to share with you guys here today. But the Underwriting Academy, so I'm going to put here Underwriting Academy, we spent about 6 days together, about an hour and a half a day of just looking at different cash and creative deals. We don't need to understand everything about every given deal. We just have to pick one path. Okay, so this goes to marketing. So we're going to bunch these together. We pick one path. Okay, some of you guys are like, I want to get into multifamily and I want to buy businesses and I want to do all these things and I want to do pad splits and I want to buy single family homes and I also want to wholesale. So, okay, I want to do that too. I want to do all those things. But what can we do right now? What can we execute on right now, this minute, right? And normally we want to pick one thing and just get really good at that one thing. Okay, so we don't need to understand, like one of the worst ways to well, I guess one of the easiest ways to waste your time, waste your energy, and waste your money is to get into something that you don't know anything about and start spending money to find opportunities. I see this all the time, especially in real estate, just single family world. People are like, I'm just getting started, so I'm gonna start. I got $5,000 for marketing, so I'm gonna go generate some leads. I'm gonna get a VA to cold call homeowners and see if anyone wants to sell. But they know nothing about the real estate. Like they don't understand. They've never seen a deal be put together. So you're literally rolling the dice. Nor do you have any direction. It's like you don't have any direction from someone who's done it before or has done a lot of it. So we're literally just hoping for the best, and maybe you'll break even, right? But we're not in this business to break even. If I'm spending, that's Yoshi, right? She spent 40 grand in ads, but like she's a lot better now from it. She's learned a lot in the process, and whether you break even or not, like we hope if we spend 40 grand, we want to make like 300 grand. Like that's the kind of outsized returns we should be making. Like, I'm looking to get a 10x ROAS on all my marketing when it comes to finding real estate deals, and probably even better if you guys are doing direct to agent, right? If we're spending $200 in systems and maybe virtual assistants to do a real estate deal, I don't want to make 2,000. I want to make 20,000. That's a crazy turn, right? It's 100x ROAS. So yeah, cut them off. Yeah, Yoshi, you're the best. You're crushing it. You're doing awesome. So like this, these are important things to understand as you guys go to do this. You want to pick one thing in one mode until you've done it really well. So like one avatar, one marketing channel, right? That's the idea. So who's the avatar? Who's the person? Who's the person in most distress? Well, for us, like we like working with agents that have the listings that they are going to be tough to sell, right? And those are the ones that are off market. Those are also the ones that are on market that are sitting. The agent is our avatar. And what's our one mode of reaching out to them? Well, we do telecommunications, so it's both text and phone call, right? But it's all in and of the same. But it's easy to grow in that, and then you can kind of build it out from there. And I'm just specifically looking for single family homes because that's the way I can make the 15, 20 grand. And then until you get to the point where you're consistently closing deals, that's the only thing you should be focusing on. Now, once you get to like 4 to 6 deals a month, then sure, let's start getting into multifamily. Let's start getting into the other things that you want to do without it taking away from your current business that is bringing you money on the wholesale side. Okay, don't know what happened there. And there's a way that you can actually have both. But again, the biggest problem that I see under deal evaluation, I talk to a lot of people because I do a lot of one-on-one calls and I do book calls during the week, and a lot of people who are looking to maybe even work with me for my mentorship program and stuff. I talk to a lot of people that are doing all kind of stuff, and it's awesome to hear. But when I hear someone say that they want to do all these different things getting started, I'm like, okay, they're distracted. We need to get them focused in because I understand because it's so exciting to do all these things and you don't want to leave money on the table and we want to build generational wealth and we want to have all these things. Well, we need to focus on one thing. Okay. Because I was talking to a gentleman who was like trying to get his real estate, his single family. He's like, you know what? Single family shouldn't work for me. I've been trying it, but I haven't seen anything from it. So I'm gonna get into multifamily. I just paid $10,000 to get some leads. I got some mailers going out for multifamily. I'm like, what's the game plan to underwrite? So how do you know if you have a good multifamily? I say, I don't really know, but I'm part of my local RIA here. So I hope when I get something, I'm just going to take it to somebody in the RIA and they'll help me out. I'm like, okay, so you don't have anyone that you know for sure has experience with the leads that you're going to be bringing to the table. How do you even know what a good lead looks like, right? That is like, so literally, you might as well just either go take a crazy vacation or go light money on fire because you're not going to get anything from that. You're going to get some leads and that may get you excited, but you're not going to make any money. So we got to be able to evaluate deals. And it's so much easier to learn how to evaluate deals whenever we're just focusing on one type. So the Underwriting Academy, I'm going to be giving access to you guys today with everything inside of the community. So with that, if you guys have been following here, I'll go ahead and drop the first link. So we are moving everything from our Facebook group. We're moving everything from our free Facebook group, which is No Fluff Real Estate with Matt Beard, over to our Skool community. I haven't even made a post in the Skool community yet, but that's how new it is. But I want you guys to have first access to the group. And inside of here, it's called No Fluff Real Estate. You will also see where you'll have access to Masterclass Pass. Okay, Deal Generator is a lot for everybody. You have to obviously have Deal Generator to get that course, but Masterclass Pass will be free for everyone. And check it out, you guys. Literally every masterclass we filmed this year is in here, including this one is going to be put in there. And Matthias, the one we did last week with Matthias, is in here. It's all ready to go. So I'm super pumped to share this with you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and post a link for you here. Use this link. Go join. It's got all the master classes. All right. Completely free. You guys don't have to pay for that stuff. All right. But we're moving everyone over from the Facebook group into Skool because I've been having to put videos in Kajabi. I got videos in Spotlighter. And you guys know, especially if you're in the group, there's like videos all over the place. How can we condense this? And Skool gives us the best platform to be able to do that for you guys. So we already have most of everything ready to go in here, as well as some small pieces for the community. So if you want to go in there and join and at least get Masterclass pass, hop into the new Skool community and introduce yourself. So that way you can take advantage of it. So once you click that link, it is private because otherwise I don't just want everybody to join. So click to submit your membership request, and I will accept all of you guys. So good point there, Josh. Should be able to join right away. All right. So anywho, that's where we're going to be putting our deal evaluation underwriting academy. So the first skill that we have to learn, very important, is the ability to be able to find opportunities, right? And that comes down to marketing and deal evaluation. And they go hand in hand. Like if I didn't know what a good lead looks like, and I didn't know how to evaluate that lead, then I don't know how effective my marketing is. And then I don't know how effective my deal evaluation is. My marketing is like, I'm just shooting stuff. I don't know. I get stuff brought to me all over the place, and it's a single family, it's a multifamily, it's a whatever, right? It's very hard to tell how good I could be at evaluating leads because my marketing isn't on point. So they go hand in hand. But once if you watch the Underwriting Academy, it's completely free. I think it'll help you. It'll help you out tremendously when it comes to be able to underwrite properties and be able to evaluate if you have something good. So on the marketing, who's in the most pain or in the most distress right now? How can I find them and reach them affordably? Okay, and that's what we specialize in, and that's the reason why we use Deal Generator. So if you guys didn't know, Deal Generator is our platform. Deal Generator is our platform and how we call, text, email all of our prospects, not just realtors. We have quite a few students using this for their direct to seller campaigns. They have drip campaigns for like landlords, and we have foreclosures being put into the system now that we're using for the Underdog challenge that we're reaching out to find these reverse flips. So it can be used for everything, but it really shines whenever it comes to reaching out to agents because we single line dial them and we get pretty good response rates by doing that. So that's what we use for our marketing. Now, over to skill number 2. Okay, so how can we quickly get deals in any market at any time, assuming you have the deal evaluation and the marketing skill you're working on and you're putting it into practice. The second skill that I've seen every successful person that I see actually make it in real estate, really in any industry, is the ability to communicate. Okay, so this is not, I hate putting the word sales because for me, I always felt like sales had like a negative connotation. Like, sales is like a thing of used car salesman and all this. I was like, this is somebody just trying to take advantage of someone. And I realized that's definitely not the case. What happens in communications, what happens in sales, it always comes down to your intent. There are bad people in every industry. So if someone's intent behind their sales and basically psychological manipulation or whatever you want to call it, if their intent is bad, then that is obviously bad, right? And that definitely puts a black eye on the whole thing itself. It's like there's going to be bad people who understand, who are really good at smooth talking, and they're going to take advantage of people. But there's also people who understand how to communicate with all different walks of life. Someone who is rude and mean and just a driver personality potentially. Maybe they're very straightforward and they're hard to, they're a tough nut to crack, right? Or someone who just loves talking, a yellow type personality who's like, they share everything with you. Sometimes they overshare. It's like, please God, stop sharing. And then you have like the green, right? Someone who is very analytical and making their decisions. And then you have like the blue personality, very social, and they want to look for, other people who would be doing it and they want to be a part of something, right? So no matter who you're talking to, if your intent is good and you can communicate with all of those different types of personalities, all those different types of people, then you're going to be able to accomplish some really great things. You're going to be able to help more people. You're going to be able to create the impact you want to create in your own life and in other people's lives. So, right, communication is a very, very, very important skill. So with every industry, there's places where you're going to need to be able to communicate. So like when it comes to building relationships, you have to understand social dynamics. How can you get someone to want to be friends with you? That's a pretty important skill to develop, especially when we're talking business to business with real estate agents. And talking direct to consumer, right? And when we're talking direct to consumer, then we have to be able to, depending on who we're talking to on the other side, be able to communicate with them to help them see what we see for them because they want to see it. right? So you have to be like a guide. Think about yourself in like the Amazon rainforest, and you're just like, you're leading the way. You got a machete, and you're just like chopping down bushes and trees and stuff, and you're trying to lead them to where you want them to go, but it's up to them to take the next step. But there has to be trust involved. They're like, okay, I know this person. They know the way, and they're showing the way, so I'm gonna believe them. So that's the way you have to communicate when it comes to direct to consumer. I mean, you see it business to business as well, but a lot of business to business communication is really just being confident in what you're saying and understanding the social dynamics of it all. But when it comes to a seller, you got to be a great guide, right? So understanding that is huge. So I've talked to plenty of people who have figured out the way to get leads and to figure out the way to market PPC and do all the things, and they have opportunities, but they haven't figured out this component of being able to close. So this month, we're going to be spending some time inside of Skool doing some very special trainings with you guys on understanding how to actually communicate. And it's basically going to be a sales training. I personally use two separate frameworks. If you guys want to Google these, I use the Sandler Submarine, and I use the Alex Hormozy closer framework. And what you'll learn about most sales strategy is that you probably already do a lot of this. And there's just some people who put it into like written form, like, oh, I'm already doing this. Oh, I'm already doing this. So if you want to Google either one of those are the two most popular ones that I have ventured and found myself using. Very helpful book for you to read if you want to learn how to communicate. Something I read when I first got started in this industry was Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. He's a hostage negotiator, and he's really good with just like the soft skills that are necessary with talking to someone to get them to see what like get them to see your point of view because they want to see it, right? So that's a great book to read as you go and learn some of this stuff. So I was talking to some students, and when people come to me being like, "Man, I need sales training. Man, I need help negotiating or whatever," and I'm like, "I know these people are doing deals, so what do you need help with?" And for me, I've learned that it's only whenever you lose deals or you lose out to someone or someone pays a little bit more or they don't go with you that you're like, "Oh my gosh, I need to work on my sales. I suck." But when you're getting deals and people are signing with you, you're like, "Oh, I'm the best there is," right? So like at the end of the day, it's like that's just a part of this. You're going to get no's. You're going to have people who sell their home to other people, or just some people who just don't vibe with you, which is like very hard to it's a tough pill to swallow and hard to understand. But that's a part of this business too. But the better we can communicate and get what we want to say across in a way that doesn't seem confrontational, in a way that makes it seem like, hey, this was actually your idea. You're going to be in a really good place here. You're going to be able to help impact more people because of the intent is to help and to it's a positive intent. It's not to take advantage of someone because you're trying to get some financial gain. Financial gain comes in the process of helping people, right? So the ability to communicate. So if you guys are going to be in the Skool community, all you got to do again is head over to Skool, and I will be getting you everyone access today. So if you could, let me go ahead and make sure that this is open. I'm looking on this on my side. Well, let me know if that link works. Have you guys tried out the link? Have you tried to go over? If you have, let me know if it's working and if you can submit to join the group. If it isn't working, let me know too, and I'll update the link. But it should be working. You should be able to go to that link. Okay, cool. Well, head over to that link because I will be posting in there for some very special sales trainings for the month of November that everyone will have access to. Yep, the classes are locked. They're wonderful. I'm going to be opening the classes today. Just want to get everybody in there. Okay. So again, this is something that I definitely feel like I am so confident that I can start a business from scratch and make 70 grand in a month because I know how to market and I know how to evaluate deals and I know how to communicate. I know how to talk to people, right? And it really only came from me doing it and talking to people. Like, honestly, guys, I'm not an extrovert. I am an introvert personality at heart. Like, I used to hate like just being around other people, which is like, oh, or like talking in front of a group of people. It's like, oh God, no, like I just want to go like shrivel up and die. But like, and this was like, I was probably like 18 or 19. I remember like I had to get out of my shell because I took this little sales position thing that I was trying to, if you guys know an MLM company called Vima, like for the first time I had to get in front of a group of people and I remember like stuttering and following my words. I was like, I bombed it terribly. But like, I learned like, okay, well, I just overcame that. I can get better at this. This is a skill I can get good at. And then I took a job at a gym and I was working the front desk and I had to talk to people in that role. And then I became a personal trainer. And it's really weird if you just hear people breathe really heavy and you don't have small talk for 30 minutes. So I had to get good at talking to people that way. So like just slowly but surely, kind of got, develop the skills to be able to talk to people. So take it from me. This is not something natural. If you guys are naturally an extrovert, then sure, you're going to do very well in this industry. But if you're not, and you feel like you can't do this, then I'm going to tell you that you're very wrong. You can absolutely do this, right? So that is something that you guys can work on. This is a skill that can be developed and get good at. In fact, I had a nightmare 2 nights ago where I just bombed on stage doing the presentation, and I woke up and like my heart was pounding. I'm like, what have I done? But like it's exciting and exhilarating, and it's something you can get good at. So being able to communicate is a skill that you have to develop. And I'm going to be making sure everybody here in the community, whether you're in my group, in my private community, or if you're just in No Fluff Real Estate inside of Skool, you guys have the link. I'll make sure that everybody is going to be developing the skill to be able to communicate. So I want everybody making money, I want everybody doing deals, and that's what our No Fluff mission is all about. So that's skill number 2. Okay, so look for the links inside of this. There'll be one training this upcoming week. I'm targeting Wednesday afternoon for this upcoming week for our first sales training or no fluff sales training. I don't even want to call it sales training. Or maybe I just call it no fluff communication. I'll let you guys pick. We'll pull and pick a name. But it's going to be great. You guys are going to learn a lot of skills when it comes to negotiating deals and putting them together and how to get somebody to want to accept your lower offer when you're $10,000 less than someone else. How do they still decide to work with you? It's because they buy you. They want to work with you as the person. So we're going to talk a lot about that. Now, the third skill, the third skill to develop, and the last one here. And I pulled this up because I was talking to Mr. David Maggard, one of my students. He's in our program. He's awesome. He just sent out his first contract on Friday for a duplex in Florida. So excited, so pumped for you, David. But one thing that he said that I thought was very interesting, because every real estate investor or person I've seen to be successful has this one trait, has this one skill, and that is to be able to, I'm going to put implementation / execution speed. Let me enter this so it's not execute. So if you ever see anyone very successful in doing this, right, and I'm going to give you guys some helpful things that kind of work through this to make this possible. If you've seen people be successful at we know reverse flipping is going to have an opportunity window for the next 6 to 12 months. Well, how can we start getting opportunities today for that, right? And he's like, it was crazy because you talk, I learned about this a couple weeks ago. You had Matthias on last Saturday, and you're already pulling a list, and you already have leads coming in for it, like literally the next day. And like that was just so fast of getting this implemented. He's like, that's what I want to do. And I'm like, well, that's the only way to do it, right? We have to be fast. When there's an opportunity that is presented, I at least want to check the validity of that opportunity by implementing strategies that I think would net me the result that I'm looking after. And if the opportunity isn't there, then I'll know rather quickly and I can move on, right? So implementation speed and execution speed is very important. So if you have other high-level relationships in your life or people that you're trying to build relationships with, you see other high performers, they learn something and they implement it like this. They learn something, they're good students, and they implement it like this. They're not good at just talking to people. They're not good at just leading other people. They're also good listeners and they're good students. So this is something that I highly recommend you guys. This is a skill to develop. When you learn something, figure out a way using the same framework. It's like, okay, well, there's an opportunity there. Let's try it. Okay, well, what can I do? How can I find the people that are in most distress right now? And how can I find and reach them affordably? Wonderful. So like reverse flipping, I'm like, okay, well, that's how you do it. Okay, somebody who is underwater on the home that needs a bunch of work. So they definitely have debt, and I can double check their equity position and see if this house needs work. So they don't have any equity and it needs work. Great. That's how I'm going to find these people. Okay. And how I'm going to be able to evaluate them. Okay, well, I'm going to need their debt information, and I'm going to need to be able to figure out what the ARV is. And then I need to figure out what the as-is value is based on where the property is condition-wise right now. And the as-is value, guys, is simply what you would basically offer for this person to wholesale their deal. So don't even worry about what they owe. Oh, the ARV is 350. It needs a bunch of work. I'm going to need to buy this for 160. Great. That's my as-is value. That's the number I'm going to have to go negotiate with the lender with. Okay, great. Okay, so I figured that part out. Perfect. How am I going to communicate this with them? All right, well, I'm working out my script. And you guys have been watching me on the Underdog Challenge. I'm working out my script right now, how to actually present this to get someone to be on board with it, right? But I'm still taking the same framework. Closure stands for clarify. Okay, clarify what's going on, clarifying why I hopped on the call with them. I'm going to label any pain that they have. Oh, I see that you guys have already been trying to sell this for 100 days. The bank said they only want to take X amount of money. got it. And if you guys had offers on the table that it fell through, right? That must really stink. So I'm labeling any pain and I'm overviewing their past experiences. That's what O stands for. So you've had the property, you guys tried to submit an offer, the bank didn't want to accept it, got it. Okay, that makes a ton of sense. Well, look, at the end of the day, what is the goal here? What is the seller looking to walk away with? Is there a certain dollar amount, or are they just happy with like literally just being done with this? And for you, I'm sure you want to make sure that you get all your commission out of this, especially for all the work you've already put into it. Well, what if we can do that? Like, what if we could just take everything off your guys' hands to make that possible? Because this is the way that we would potentially process this type of transaction. We've seen these, we've done these before, and folks in my network have done a tremendous amount of these. The loss mitigation team that would be handling this file has done thousands and thousands of these types of transactions, and they have a really high success rate. So I'm not guaranteeing that the bank is going to accept the short sale, but I will say if there was a chance, we're going to give ourselves the best chance by doing that. And we're able to take this all off your plate and just do it for you. Normally people would have to pay for that kind of service. We're going to cover it. And I can even give them money up front for the deed. Okay, I'm selling the vacay. That's what S stands for. I'm selling the end result. And then they're going to have concerns. They're going to have like, well, what about this? Well, what about that? What about this? What about that? E stands for explain. You're going to explain away their concerns at that point. Okay, well, this is how we would handle that. Got it. Okay, you must be asking that for a reason. Well, tell me blah, 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 right? I'm going to explain away their concerns with the E. And if I have to go back to labeling their pain, overviewing past experiences, selling the vacay, I will. And then maybe they have another objection. I explain it. I address it. Go back through, labeling the pain, overviewing past experiences, selling the vacay. Got it. Then they make a decision, and R stands for reinforce. Reinforce the decision. Why they made the right decision by working with us. Okay? So like all my scripts, all of my things go from having a nice framework to base it off of. Okay? And that's why I love the closure framework. But I can do all this and I can implement this stuff with great speed because I have those other two skills that stack on top of this. So money loves speed. That is a saying that you should write down. You should put that in your notebook. You should put it on your phone. It should be the background of your phone, whatever. It needs to be, if you sit down on your desk, right there behind your computer says money loves speed. So any place that you take time, maybe you guys have not gotten where you want to go because you're over analytical. You're overthinking, right? And, it's one of those things where if the folks that typically end up being, pretty smart and reserved in their thinking, wherever there's an opportunity, they see a tremendous amount of risk, right? And maybe someone who is just less, definitely not risk averse and they're willing to do whatever. They see a lot of risk, they see a lot of opportunity, right? So there's a lot of people, and what that means is there's a lot of people that are way less smart than you, that are making a lot more money because they're just doing it and they're implementing it and they're trying it. So I am not the smartest person in the room by far, not even close, not even close. But what I do is I know how to just go implement and go make mistakes. And then I'm so much further along than someone who's still learning, right? So if someone is learning, complicated strategies or how to reach out to agents to do cash deals and they're learning scripts and all this other stuff, I've already been practicing the scripts for weeks. So I know exactly the script is landing and what's working because I've already been doing it. So what you're going to face it regardless, right? No matter what, it's like anything else in life. It's like, I want to delay the work because I need to learn more about it. No, the work is going to be there even when you have the knowledge. So you might as well just go ahead and start getting the work and you will learn more in the process of doing that than you ever would by just trying to gain more knowledge. So think about that. The reason why we can get more done in a short period of time, the reason why I was able to make $1 million in 2 years. And that was real. Like I didn't have any money. Literally, I was living paycheck to paycheck, negative money in my bank account when I was 28. And by the time I turned 30, I was liquid millionaire before I turned 30. And that's just from the same people that started when I started had gotten a fraction of those results. And I was not near as smart as any of those other people. But all I did was just get to work and get started. And I learned way more in those 2 years than I ever would if I had to go to school, or the same people that were trying to watch videos and they've tried different strategies and stuff. It's like, what are we really trying to do here? Let's move fast. Let's implement. So implementation speed and execution speed. What I recommend, again, the saying is money loves speed. There's books you can get for this. I've mentioned this in our trainings before, but a book called Clockwork is really good for you guys to see how you can start implementing business systems. It's by Michael Michalowicz. But more importantly, you want to test to see how far you can get within a 30-day period. You don't want to just like implement something and try it for a week and be done and put it down. You want to be able to commit 30 days to it. So what I recommend is 30-day sprints. Okay. and give it a shot for 30 days and really put it to the test. Are you able to get the results out of it within 30 days of really trying it? And if you're not, is there ways that there's places that you can tweak the process? Like there's things that I do to find these that I'm using to find these reverse flip deals that they're not teaching on right now. It's just like it's just my thing. It's just what I've learned from doing it. I'm like, oh, okay, this is actually working better for me. I see people talking about this, but this is working better for me. But I only know that because I do these 30-day sprints. So how a 30-day sprint works, and I'll give you guys the KPI sheet on this, and you'll see my KPI tracker. You're going to make a copy of this, all right? It is broken down into sprints. Only thing I care about is calls or text, and then conversations. How many new properties did you get today? How many of those were off market? And how many offers did you send? So any new strategy that you get, you should try to start your sprint as fast as possible to put it to the test, right? And if you don't have time for this, or you're like, hey, I'm trying to figure out time to be able to implement this stuff, it's like you gotta be able to make time. And I recommend using the Pomodoro technique. So if you don't know something, like I educated myself on a lot of these different things within like 30 minutes. I'm like, okay, I see what they're doing. I understand this. Okay, cool. Let's get to work, right? So if you guys are unfamiliar with the Pomodoro technique, that is simply you sit down, you set a timer with yourself. It could be 20, 25, maybe even 30 minutes. You do it. When the timer goes off, you stop work, right? So normally during my time clock, I put my phone on airplane mode so I can just stick to work. And then when my timer goes off, I get up, use the bathroom, get a snack, get a drink, whatever. And then it takes about 10 minutes, and I get right back to my desk and do another time block. You would get so much more done just by being able to do that. The toughest part about really being an entrepreneur or being your own business owner, being your own boss, is being disciplined in the little stuff, right? Being disciplined in the time management, being disciplined in getting the stuff done, and letting another day go where you say, hey, but maybe some of you guys have been trying to get a list pulled, and it's been 3-4 days. Why does it take 3 or 4 days to pull a list? It takes 10 minutes. So we just need to take the time, the dedicated time to get it done. Look, and we're all busy and we got a lot of stuff going on, so I get it. And there's no judgment for me because there's plenty of things. I waste time doing all kind of stuff all the time. But I'm just saying when it comes to implementing new stuff and making money, money loves speed and you got to move quickly. So there's the KPI tracker for your 30-day sprints. But anybody who I've seen be successful in this business, there are 3 core skills is their ability to find opportunities, right? Find opportunities where others can't. So you ask yourself on the marketing side, who's in the most pain or in the most distress right now? And then you get really good at evaluating those leads. And for you guys here, you don't even have to worry about doing that. You can just watch the Underwriting Academy. That's going to be in the Skool group community. So hop over to Skool and make sure you get access. I'm going to be adding the Underwriting Academy in today. It's basically 6 recordings because it was 6 days, about an hour to an hour and a half each. Okay. The other skill number 2, is the being able to communicate. Okay. Using helpful frameworks. I recommend you guys Googling either one of these 2 or maybe even both so you can understand like this is the framework I use to create scripts for everything that I do. Okay. So I will be teaching this month for the whole month of November. I'm planning on having at least 5 to 6 trainings, just like we did for Underwriting Academy. I'm going to have 5 to 6 trainings on sales and negotiations. So you guys can get really good at this skill. Because a lot of you guys, I love talking to y'all because you've seen leads, but you've generated leads in the past, but you haven't been able to convert those things into deals. And there's a lot of soft skills and a lot of nuances that sometimes I don't even think of because I'm just doing it. I'm just talking to people. I'm like, oh, see, and that's how you get a deal. And someone's like, well, I never even thought to present it that way. So I'm just going to be sharing my favorite frameworks and the things that I've done that works really well for me in my business during these trainings. And the only way you're going to get access to it is by being in the Skool community. So go click on the Skool link here in Vimeo and go join. It's free. You don't have to pay for any of this stuff. We're going to have 5 or 6 live trainings this month for November, as well as you guys getting access to all the Masterclass recordings. So they're all in there. And the last skill is being able to implement, right, and to move quick. And execution speed is so important. Money loves speed. Make time for the things that matter inside of your business. Clockwork is a great one. And as I said that, I just thought of another one. If you guys are really geeking out and nerding out on this, I recommend this right here, a book called Measure What Matters. Oh my gosh, I got another one. I'm sorry. I got one more book for you. It's called The 12-Week Year. I want to make sure it wasn't something else. There it is. So if I recommend 3 books on any of this stuff, so what does this mean, guys? Implementation, money loves speed. So when I give you a book to potentially check out, maybe try to get through one of them as quick as you can. Maybe try to get, I listen to audio at like 1.5 speed, but whatever you end up doing, pick up one of these. Like the 12-week year, I think would be very relevant for many of you guys. Because the concept is get more done in 12 weeks than many people get done in 12 months. right? And condensing your timelines on a lot of stuff that you're trying to get done. And that's what implementation speed's all about. So either measure what matters next or clockwork, but I recommend if you guys are just getting going, let's start with the 12-week year. And then use the KPI tracker I just sent over here in the Vimeo chat. I'm going to be putting this obviously with the masterclass too, to break down your KPIs in 30-day sprints. No one's going to do this for you guys. And here's the thing about all of this is like, no matter what happens after today's trading, no one's going to care if you do it, and no one's going to care if you don't do it. It's only you. It's only you. And it's going to be like that for a long time until you get successful. And then everybody's going to wonder, what the heck did you do? How did you do this so quickly? But they were never here on a Sunday morning or Sunday around lunchtime learning about the stuff, or learning real estate and implementing it and going through all the no's and going through all the stuff. But that's okay. No one else cares, which is the biggest reason why you should do it anyways, because you're doing this for you. Like this is the biggest version of self-love, in my opinion, is caring about you, caring about yourself so much that you want a better life for yourself and those around you. So hopefully you guys, if you stick with me here in No Fluff Group inside of Skool, you'll see I'm right there with you every step along the way. I make mistakes every single day, but we get a little bit better every single day. So hopefully we can just do that together. So that's today's masterclass, guys. Those are the skills that you're going to need to develop and always be honing in and working on as you get good at this: the ability to find deals, the ability to communicate, the ability to implement at a very high speed. So I appreciate you all. I hope you have a great Sunday. Thank you all for being patient with me as we got this going and the link was wrong and had to get everybody in here. But this recording will be kept in Masterclass Pass. You can always go back to this. If you forget the book, or if you forget the framework for sales, or if you forget the question to ask yourself for marketing, you can always go back to this recording. And hopefully you guys will be able to keep these things and start making a ton of money on the stuff that we talk about here. Appreciate you all. Thanks for hanging out with me for a full hour and 10 minutes on a Sunday morning / depending on where you're at, maybe around lunchtime. Hope you all have a great day. We'll be talking to you soon, okay? Bye!